Welcome back to IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow with me, Ritvika Gupta, and you're watching our very special weekend edition Super Achievers Making New India powered by VoiceWhat. In this segment, the focus is now on Hygenco Green Energies. My colleague Pooja Jain caught up with the co-founders to get a sense of the renewable energy sector and some of their impactful initiatives. Listen in.
India is on a mission to become a leader in renewable energy, and green hydrogen is at the forefront of this push. And leading the charge is Hygenco Green Energies, which aims to solve India's energy needs by harnessing the power of green hydrogen. Hygenco is committed towards building a sustainable future for the next generation through innovative, affordable and sustainable green solutions. Joining us today are the pioneers shaping a new India, Amit Bansal, co-founder and CEO, and Anshul Gupta, co-founder and Chief Strategy and Innovations, Hygenco Green Energies.
Amit, Anshul, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. And Amit, if I could kick off the conversation with you. My understanding is that the global renewable energy market is expected to cross the figure of $1,900 billion by the year 2030. How critical will India's contribution be in making that market materialize?
Today, I would say none of the world's growth cross without touching the Indian market. And renewable market, as well as now the green hydrogen market and its derivatives, are definitely one of the most important sectors. Out of this particular figure which you just established, there would be a significant contribution from the India's arena. You would be aware that India has recently touched the mammoth milestone of 175 gigawatt,
Absolutely.
Which was established by our Prime Minister, Mr. Modi. And over the next 5 to 6 years, that means by 2030, wherein our National Hydrogen Mission establishes 5 million ton of green hydrogen by 2030.
Right.
We expect this additional 150 gigawatt more of renewable space to come up only from this sector itself. So you can see India's renewable market will definitely be a huge push in this agenda.
I think that makes for some wonderful context setting, and I want to build on some of those comments coming to you now, Anshul. Because look, we clearly understand that green hydrogen is eco-friendly, right? We clearly understand that it helps India take one step closer towards meeting its carbon objectives. But how commercially viable is it as compared to the alternatives?
Well, I think most people, sometimes they think that it's not commercially viable, etc. But we have been actually working in this field for last 3 years. We have been developing plants, producing green hydrogen at least 2 plants now. And with all the improvements, technology improvements that we have been able to do, we believe that actually at many places it is already commercially viable, and we are almost at that cusp of inflection now, where maybe within 1 year from now we will see a lot of commercial viability in any other sectors that are remaining, and hence I think this market will export exponentially. Mm-hmm. So we are really at that inflection point, and I think that's where the Indian government has taken this strategic decision, and they have made this push right from our Prime Minister to the Parliament, to the ministers, to the cabinet, to push green hydrogen, because this is the time to shine. Mm-hmm. This is where we can capture the potential of India. We can make India a net exporter of energy in future, because we are really at this cusp of explosion because of this commercial viability, either already there or just coming within, let's say, next 12 to 18 months.
Well, we look forward to that, Anshul, and you're absolutely right in terms of us being at a critical inflection point, Amit, because as per India's green hydrogen mission, which you referenced earlier, and the 5 million ton figure, which you also referenced, there's an obvious need for the production of green hydrogen to be not just affordable, not just commercially viable, but to be scalable, ultimately. And Hygenco, of course, specializes in environmentally friendly hydrogen solutions. That said, many of us have read extensively about the hydrogen production plant in Ujjain, Madhya Pradesh, that Hygenco launched last year. right? And to my knowledge, it has been performing above expectations. But what's the on-ground reality?
So true. So just to give a glimpse about the first demo plant which we put up, that is established in Ujjain, Madhya Pradesh. That is the country's first green hydrogen plant to run on off-grid solar.
Right.
So off-grid is pretty much difficult in this arena, if you will.
Very much so.
Yeah. So that plant, so firstly, we are getting a huge amount of data, which is, I would say, it's like gold mine. None of the other companies have that sort of data with us. That plant is performing exceedingly well. It's state-of-the-art plant in the sense the entire plant is more or less controlled by algorithms which we have designed. There is hardly some manual intervention in the plant.
Sure.
And it's sort of run through an AI-based algorithm which is designed and owned by Hygenco itself. Plus the amount of data which we get out of that plant, that has in a sense helped us a lot in modifying the other plants which we are in commissioning phase right now, or we are planning for the upcoming projects.
Well, let's talk more about that, because Anshul, my understanding is that you're also partnering with Jindal Stainless in an effort to create Asia's first of at least a mega multi-watt capacity green hydrogen plant.
Yeah.
So tell us more about the significance of this development.
I mean, it's hugely significant because we have launched the National Green Hydrogen Mission, and this is the first commercial scale green hydrogen plant in India. By commercial, I mean it is funded by private equity, money for equity. It has project finance from traditional banks at a pretty competitive rates, and it is delivering commercial returns. And it is delivering commercial returns without any government incentives and without any carbon benefits, literally molecule to molecule.
Right.
So that actually proves that green hydrogen can be commercially viable. It is commercially viable. It is already working.
Yeah.
And the green hydrogen is going into the steel furnace, which for the first time in India is basically making this impact on steel making in India, which is a highly emitting sector globally. And this is the sign of hope for India to, make this green steel be a green steel exporter to the entire world.
Sure. And you can't get a better case study than that.
Yeah.
Right? And taking the conversation a bit closer to home, Amit, let's talk about the state of Maharashtra, which is where I'm from. And to my understanding, you at Hygenco frequent Maharashtra very often. And you harbor hopes of owning, operating, right, the state of Maharashtra's first green hydrogen plant. So tell me about the agreement that you struck with Sterlite Technologies. They're a global optical fiber manufacturer, and tell us about the progress to date you've made in that arena.
So that's country's second long-term offtake contract on signed for green hydrogen.
Right.
The uniqueness about that particular contract is we are shifting the complete gray hydrogen needs of that particular unit of Sterlite to green hydrogen, from gray to green on a whole scale basis. That was not achieved in our first contract, but it's been achieved in our second contract.
Phenomenal.
So in order to do that, you would understand the solution which Hygenco brings is complete in all the aspects. It is safe, it is reliable, it is cost competitive. So we are fulfilling all the buckets of all these things. The project is under construction right now. The plant is expected to be commissioned in September this year. The plant is again state-of-the-art plant. And in this particular case, Sterlite is taking not only green hydrogen, it is taking another product, green oxygen, from that unit as well.
Interesting.
Yeah, the entire plant is situated near the Sterlite's premises, and the entire product, that means hydrogen and oxygen, both are piped to their existing furnace.
Well, we look forward to that. But the fact of the matter is that, Anshul, Hygenco has set its sights well beyond India. All right, you're foraying into international markets. As a company, you have plans to deploy upwards of $300 million by way of investment over the next few years. I'd be curious to understand what inroads you've made in the Middle East market in particular.
So look, I think our speciality and what we have achieved so far is basically designing, engineering, creating technologies for green hydrogen that makes it competitive.
Right.
And we have done it, proven it, and we are producing green hydrogen. There is a lot of global interest in the systems, in the technologies that we have developed, because there is a global need for green hydrogen to be cost competitive.
Right.
And here is one company that has kind of like achieved it
right.
here in India.
Right.
So that's where we are getting this global interest from global partners who want us to come and partner with them and, take our technologies to overseas markets. So we are very carefully selecting some of the overseas markets, and we are looking for and, agreeing with very strong local execution partners where we bring, the design expertise. We invest our money in those plants as a skin in the game, and they bring in their local expertise, and we together, build these plants.
By way of closing comments, and I'll pose my last question to the both of you. India is in the midst of an energy transition journey. And in that energy transition journey, we need to essentially reduce our dependency on fossil fuel and therefore reduce our fossil fuel imports as well, and actively contribute towards the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. What legacy would you like for Hygenco to leave behind in that context? I'll start with you, Anshul.
Power, or let's say electricity, is only a certain percentage, 15 to 20% of the total energy need of the country. All the remaining energy is basically coming from either coal or natural gas or some other kind of fossil fuels, or to some part nuclear also. While so far we all have been focused on renewable energy to just decarbonize that 15 to 20%.
Right.
But this is the remaining elephant in the room, the remaining 80% that, which hasn't been much of focus so far, simply because there was no, commercially viable large-scale technology available. And this is where green hydrogen and Hygenco comes into play. So we are looking to address this 80% of this problem, a bulk of it. And I think that's how where we find our motivation and values in. We would like to leave a legacy behind where we would have contributed immensely to this large 80% of the problem, not just the 20%. And at some day, by virtue of doing this, we kind of be not only one of the largest green hydrogen companies in India, but maybe top 5 in the world. Yeah.
Well, we wish you all the continued success with that. And Amit, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, so as Anshul just now said, our objective right from the day when we started the company was that we want to leave a sustainable Mother Earth for our next generations.
Right.
And hydrogen, and specifically green hydrogen, will play a huge role in that particular aspect. So we dreamt of that world, and that's how we started the company. The journey has been very fascinating till now. We have achieved a lot of success, and I'm sure there's a huge path ahead. And we have sites, as Anshul has just now mentioned. We want to be the top 5 global players in this sector, and we are very confident of achieving it.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. We wish you all the very best for what lies ahead.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Completely out of time on today's episode, but we hope you enjoyed the conversations. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.